Hey everybody, Derek Sheridan from Rust Belt Basketball Coaches Network. I apologize the last time I made this video, as per the question relayed to us in our free weekly newsletter in Ted's honor, I did not have my speaker on. And those who know me well can testify that if there's technology involved, there is a 60-40% chance that I'm going to ban jacks it. But anyway, I think I have it fixed this time. And let's get into this two guard front, five out blocker mover. Okay, so with my program when I was coaching, I learned back in the early '90s from Coach Jack Gaber that when he had a really good point guard, someone who could play and was proficient in all aspects of the world of being a point guard, his teams would line up in an even front. If he had a player who might not be a quote unquote point guard, but was a good player and coach needed him to play point guard, they would align in a two guard front because he felt like this action would help this player in case of a run and jump, or if they had to circle the guards to get the thing reversed, which was one of the wisest things I learned as a young coach. And I took that with me through all the multiple stops along the road for Clan Sheridan. Okay, so this is something I learned from my grandfather who passed a couple years ago. When he played basketball, he played high school basketball at Little Jeff High School in Indiana before the great consolidation occurred. And then he played at Indiana Teachers College, which is now Indiana State University. But back then, where the five man aligned here, 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 or here, told the other four players what to do regarding how they would play off of what Tony Hinkle called the pinch post or the fifth way. But there's a certain amount of that to this as well. We usually had our five man start here. Now, in regards to blocker mover offense, the number one thing is identifying who are the movers and who are the blockers. For us, two was always going to be a mover. He was our best shooter. Four and five were always going to be blockers. And at times, one or three, or both of them, if we had four blockers on the floor, but predominantly it would be five, four, and three. My point guard was typically our second best player. Our three man typically was a very good ball handler and a person who could attack off the dribble. And for people in Northwest Ohio, this a prototypical three man for Maumee High School was Sean McGovern. Okay, so you've got your blockers, you've got your movers identified. I'm pretty sure we've identified what those terms mean in previous videos. If not, shoot an email to me at rustbeltbasketballcoaches@gmail.com and I'll help you out. So we want a five out, two guard front offense, and we want this ran high. Coach Knight just simply called this high. Last night during our Zoom clinic for District 7, Coach Donnie Campbell talked about Coach Knight's high offense. And there's a certain amount of this in this blocker mover as well. So you've got three ways. This is how we did it. I'm not saying this is the universal law, but we like to have some guidelines via where the ball's been passed. We call this guard to forward. We call this guard to guard. And we called this forward to guard. And we taught screening actions and cutting actions off of those premise. Okay, so blocker mover here. You can enter into this anyway. I'm not going to show you a billion entries, but this is the premise after you've entered the ball, or what we used to say, we've gotten into business. We're in business, the ball's at the wing. So let's say the ball's hit here at the wing, and five now, when you've heard me talk about this a ton, chatter, offensive chatter, can pick and choose who he's going to screen for. He can back screen one, pick the passer, in other words. He can, what is commonly called chin now. He can screen for that off guard. He can screen, which that screen would be about here, because in a well-coached man-to-man defense, X4 is going to be here, here, or maybe here if he can shoot it. But he can pin that guy in and screen for 4, and then the screener replaces the cutter as the second cutter. That's not to say if X5 jumped that 5 couldn't hit here, and now you've got that really nice high-low action. So that's one of the things that I really like about this motion stuff, or blocker mover, is it's letting kids play. That's not also to say that it's very popular now is the follow your pass instead of a screen on the ball, or as Mike McBride refers to as a SOB, screen on ball. We didn't do a whole lot of that, but not to say that it's wrong by any stretch of the imagination, as it's so popular now. So let's say there's a guard-to-guard pass. And again, I know you couldn't just make this pass versus pressure, but I'm talking about the entry's already been ran, or you've 3 just became open. You've got a guard-to-guard pass. Same deal. 5 can pick the passer. He could screen across 4-2, which that screen would be set about here. He could screen for 4 and get that curl action or a fade action contingent on how the defense guarded him. This is an action I think is great. Coach Pitino brought this to Indiana, the state of Indiana, at a coach's clinic one year, this flat ball screen where we flatten out now and basically into a pseudo 1 or almost a 1-4 low. And that action, I think, is really difficult to defend. So let's talk about the options now besides just the cutting and screening. So let's say the ball's thrown here in any phase of the offense. 1 can basket cut, as in the Princeton offense. 1 could cut to the strong side corner. 1 could, or 5 and 1 could work together and get a Louisville screen here, or a high back screen. 1 could screen away. Didn't like that very much because it's guard on guard and that gets switched. If we did have a screen away here in this setup, it would be a double, and we'd want that to be a curl, a tight curl, or what we called a pop back and a slip versus switching. But one thing I can tell you is, from a lot of experience and a lot of heartache, is this is going to get switched, and you're not going to get much out of a straight cut off of that. So 1 hit 2, there's your screen away. That's going to get switched. I like this, but the straight cut off of that action, I'm not a big fan of. So let's go forward to guard. Okay, same deal. 5 can screen, and now he'd want to wait till that ball got swung. He can screen here. Oops, I got 2 basketballs on the floor. There we go. Follow and screen. So ball's forward to guard. There's a screening option. Pick the passer, in other words. Pin in here for 3. So there's really innumerable the options here. One of the things I do like about this, and I really like about the wide triangle and the blocker mover system, is if you've got 5 players who have played together for a long time, like they've come up together elementary, and now they're finally at the high school level, or especially if when they're seniors, this kind of stuff, those type of kids love, because of the creativity it allocates, and those kids know what each other's strengths and weaknesses are, and they love this type of stuff. Um, I know I was very fortunate to play for Coach Kiesling. We called him Coach K in high school, and these are some of the things he allowed us to do. But we've been playing together since kindergarten, so the kids really do like this. They love the creativity, um, and I think it's something. This is something you can work on maybe 10, 15 minutes a day in practice until the kids get good at it, and then unleash it in a game after they get proficient with it. But this high offense allocates so many slip cuts and curl cuts to the basket, and those are some of the things I really liked about it. So let's go guard to guard now. There's a guard to guard pass, and guard to guard pass equals pairs. That means 1 and 2 are going to work together. They are the pairs. So if 2 is the best shooter of the 2, 1's going to set his man up, and 2's getting that screen. And how he reads that is completely contingent on the defense. Again, guard to guard now. Let's say 1's the better shooter of the pairs. The ball's thrown to 3. There's your shape up, and he gets that flare where he can curl that for a lob. There's your flare. There's your slip action. And let's go to this side of the floor. And this is something that's really neat. When I was coaching at Delta, Coach Brighton's really good team last season, these kids were outstanding at this action here. So the ball gets thrown 3-2, and this is 5 side. Now 5 could be here. We liked our 5 to be on this side because we were always so small, and this was where we posted our guards up. But anyway, there's a guard to guard, and here's your pairs. Let's say 4's the better shooter, and now these things can become doubles or staggers. There's your shape up. There's a curl. And the thing I like about that curling action here, and if you want to see this ran perfectly, watch old films of Coach Dick Bennett's teams play, or at Eastern Illinois now, watch Marty Simmons' kids. This curl cut, X5 is going to help out on that. And if that happens, 3 is just going to waylay X5, and then he's going to roll down to the basket. If it's vice versa, if X3 helps on that, after 4 has crossed 2 men in a row, that double, 5 is going to blister X3, and there's your nice fade. And that's saying if 4's not open. Okay, so let's say it went guard to guard. That action took place with the curl, and 2 fires it. And one of the rules is we wanted everybody above this old volleyball line here on the high school basketball court. So the ball's fired here. 4's got to come back up high. That's a guard to forward pass. So here comes your screen away. And that's not to say 2 couldn't screen away here. We like that. We just called that a diagonal. Let's say it's 5, and there comes another screen. And I think 2 screens on a curl cut is outstanding action. There's your pop now. The ball goes guard to forward. Now on that guard to forward pass, 5's got choices. And it doesn't matter if he's 5, it's 2, 3, 1, or whoever. We want this post. We want to get the ball right there. If for whatever reason he cannot get the ball or get the footwork down to get that seal, it's an automatic back screen. Boom. You can screen that. You can kick back off it. Here he comes. Screen, rescreen. And you want to talk about a layup factory. Boom. Right there on that screen, rescreen, which we call a kickback. So as you can see, the options here are innumerable. Now, this is the last point I'm going to make, the second to last point I'm going to make. Whoever is playing in the high position is only allowed to travel up the floor as high as his ability is to score. So if our 5-man could only score in this area, this would be as high as he went. Because if he gets the ball thrown to him, we want him to be able to score. If he's uncomfortable or not very skilled in this area and he gets the ball, it's going to be a turnover. When I was coaching, I viewed turnovers as testicular pain. I did not like those. So, okay, last point. I know Eric Thompson at Peru, now at Huntington North, runs the heck out of this, and all of us in Eric and I's age group got this from Paul Keller, who was the head coach at Delta in Muncie, Indiana, and he called this pick the passer. So to make this just really short for you, is whoever passes the ball gets screened. There's your pop. And whoever took the screen, if the ball is not thrown to him, he comes back up high. Guard to guard, pick the passer. Pop. Doesn't get the ball, he comes up high. Swung here, pick the passer. And this is the action that I really liked. And Coach Gaber was the best I was ever around. Coach Gaber and Marty Johnson were two of the best. That ball would get swing on that pick the passer. And you want to talk about hard to guard. This action, the old flex or the Bo Ryan action, they blister that ball here, and then they ISO this person in the post. That's good stuff. But hey, anyway, I hope that answers your question. I was so frustrated over Steve Napier telling me there was no audio, which I really appreciate, Coach Napier. Thank you for telling me that I forgot the darn name of the person who sent the question. So I hope that answers your question. I will call you Coach Anonymous. If this doesn't answer your question, send an email to me at rustbeltbasketballcoaches@gmail.com, and I will do whatever I can to help. If I don't have the answer, by goodness, we know someone who does, and we'll have them contact you. Hey, God bless. It's Thursday here. Let's finish this week out strong, and let's make someone's day today. And let's head into this weekend with our chins up and get ready to go skull to skull, which is much better than wall to wall. Have a great week, folks.